The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to another episode of Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host, and today we're going to be talking about some community service. There's an organization here in Nashua called Habitat for Humanity.
Correct.
And Habitat for Humanity has been around as long as Jimmy Carter has been around, and he's still around. And I want to welcome Scott Slattery. Now, are you the president, or are you the local chapter leader?
I'm the executive director of the Greater Nashua Habitat for Humanity. We're the local affiliate of Habitat for Humanity International, which is based in Georgia.
Which is
Jimmy Carter.
Which is Jimmy Carter.
As you say.
And we were talking a little bit off screen now that he's still at it. He's 96.
96, yep.
96 years old, and we're talking. He's been an inspiration, obviously. Absolutely. Whether you enjoyed his politics or not, one of the things that he's definitely done is he's carried on good work since he's left office. And I don't know how many houses he must be, but he's put his hand to the plow and he's not looked back, and he's really helped out a lot of families and this organization. How big is this organization anyway?
Habitat is an international organization, chapters in just all 50 states and just about every country in the world. Obviously a few, I'm not sure exactly the number, but all throughout Central and South America, Europe, Asia.
Did President Carter start this?
No, President Carter, though, was one of the first volunteers. Millard Fillmore, ironically enough, was was the original founder. It was through the Southern Baptist Church in Georgia. Okay. And they aligned themselves a lot with the Baptist ministry, which former President Carter was affiliated with. So he became one of the first volunteers. And with his becoming president and his obviously stature in the community, it really brought a lot of attention. Right. I tell people when I'm the executive director of Habitat, I usually hear one of two things, and one of the things is Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter, yeah.
Jimmy Carter.
Right.
And then usually the second thing I have is they think is that, you build houses and give them away. And that's really not what we do. We do build houses for low and moderate income families and veterans. For instance, right now we're doing a veterans build, and we can talk a little bit about that. But we sell our houses to our families at the market value.
Okay.
Our families are required to pay property taxes, just like you and I. There's no break on their property taxes. We are able to do it because we hold the mortgages ourselves. There's no bank. And we don't charge interest on a Habitat mortgage. So we target families in our community that are at 60% of the area median income or below. And in the Nashua area, that's a decent number for a family can make a decent income and become a Habitat family.
Excuse me.
So it's mostly income driven. Typically, the way we do it is we look at three main criteria when determining Habitat families. And the first thing is need. Do they have a need for the housing? Right. So for instance, right now we're building a duplex over on Paxton Terrace here in Nashua, right off of Fairmont Street over by Homan Stadium, on a piece of land that we bought with the help of the City of Nashua through the Home Program and the Urban Programs Department, the Community Development Division. Really can't say enough about those folks. They've helped us immensely. The Board of Aldermen and Mayor Donchis are just been incredible with us.
Is that accessible to anybody that they go to this organization and say, look, I'd like to build a house in Nashua, and they would apply to this particular?
Correct. It's an open application process, right? And it's determined by income. The challenge that is obvious right now is real estate. Finding property in southern New Hampshire right now, not just Nashua, because we serve 14 communities in southern Nashua, in southern New Hampshire. We go east all the way to Windham and Pelham and Hudson, and we go west out through Milford and Wilton, including Brookline and Mason and Hollis, and kind of all the way back through. So we serve 14 communities along the southern border. Yeah. It's hard right now finding property.
Sure.
I can't mince words. The cost of real estate with the market, as just about everybody knows, has really put it out of reach for us right now.
Does Habitat flip houses?
No.
They don't.
No, we sell them to our families with typically a 25 or a 30-year mortgage. We incentivize our families initially up front with a lot of opportunity, first-time home buyers assistance, all those things to get into their house. But I tell them when I meet with them, they need to be in it for the long haul.
Right.
You're not going to live with us for 10 years and flip that house.
Right.
No, because we hold the first right of refusal to buy the house back. That's the first thing, and find another family. 2, we have an equity sharing arrangement that comes with it because most families don't qualify for what the appraised value of the home is going to be. Right. So, for example, the houses that we're building on Paxton Terrace, with the current market, I realistically could see each one of those houses appraising at $350,000. My families qualify at mortgages of around $150,000. Right. So how do we do that? Well, we carry a second mortgage on the property. It's silent and it sits. As long as they stay in the program, they complete the full 30 years, that second mortgage amortizes down, they own the house free and clear in 30 years.
So when you say our families, how do people become part of our families?
It's an application process. It's open to anyone in the community. We have an all-volunteer family selection committee. I'm proud to say that I do not sit on the family selection committee.
You're proud to say that? Why?
I'd hate to have to make that choice, Kevin. To make that recommendation of you've got how many families and there's only so many houses.
Right.
So it's all volunteers from our community. They're led by a volunteer person who used to be on our board of directors. They make a recommendation to the board of directors based on that application process. So we look at income, we look at their need. We go and do site visits where they live now. We want to make sure that, that everything is what they say it is at that point. So the first one, we identify the need. The second is their willingness to partner with us throughout the project. They have to do a minimum of 350 hours of sweat equity helping build their home.
Nice.
So minimum of that has to be 100 hours actually swinging a hammer.
Right.
Our 2 partner families right now, the Ramirez family and the Tucker family, they're both single moms. They're both U.S. Army veterans with children. They're out there every Thursday and Saturday, right side by side with the volunteer build crew, building our houses. Now remember, our houses are built 100% with volunteers. So it takes us a little bit longer to build a house than a construction company typically could build a house.
So who manages? I mean, there must be a contractor that says, okay, this is how you bang and nail. Because I'm sure there's some people that really need to know, but they have to walk them through it. Okay, this is how you do you build a wall or you whatever.
We're very fortunate. We have an amazing build crew of about 15 men and women who have been building with us for more than a decade. They've built numerous houses with us. They know how to frame. They know how to do those things. But one thing is, we don't do anything that requires a license. We don't do the electrical.
Right.
We don't do the plumbing. We don't put foundations, and we don't put roofs on. But you know what's great? We have an incredible community here in Nashua that helps us with all that. I can't say enough about, for this particular build, John Forcier Construction. He'd put our foundation in, did all our site work. Then he donated his framing crew for a couple of days. What would have taken us probably a month to do, his guys did it in a morning.
Man, I wish they would have come and did my deck. We've had a deck working on since May, and they're still not done. But
and then we like I said, we rely on so many other partners in the community. FW Webb is an incredible partner with us. They donate tub surrounds. John Vino and his team.
They got a great showroom too.
They really. I have. Most of the stuff in their showroom is not the things that end up in our house.
I walked in there one time. And I thought, my gosh, this is like. You look from the highway, you think, but you walk in there and you think, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This is
like FW right now, they're donating 4 tub surrounds because each one of my duplexes has 2 bathrooms, 4 toilets, all the faucets. They just can't get vanities right now, which kind of dovetails into the. Ironically enough, there's some strange things in the supply chain right now that still are hard to get.
Really,
the big issue right now is the cost.
Yeah,
lumber. My budget for my duplex, which I wrote back in January of 2020, so right before COVID hit. Now fast forward, my lumber costs have gone up almost $38,000.
I've heard some theories behind that as well, and a lot of it has to do with either the things not being able to be shipped from Canada, or areas which, because of the carbon tax, people use the carbon tax so that they buy lots of property, and they say, do not cut down these trees.
Yep, covenants and things, sure.
And that goes towards our eco-friendly life, so that it's raising the cost of everything. And it's a complicated issue, but it's really affecting.
It's
a lot
not
of
any
people.
one particular
Right.
issue. I mean, we had the big shutdowns of the mills in the South, where most of the lumber gets milled anyway. So that was a big thing when all the mills were shut down.
Right.
And then let's face it, we were all home for over a year.
Sure.
We didn't go on vacation. We put a deck on the house.
Well, we're trying to. We're trying to.
We're trying. Or we put a porch on, or we did that addition or whatever.
Yeah.
So then, of course, the whole real estate market in general right now, I think all of those are mitigating factors as to why materials have gone up so much.
I'm curious. Do you incorporate any of the high school students in?
All the time.
Really?
There's a Habitat for Humanity Club right at Bishop Girton here
Yep.
in Nashua. We also partner with the National Honor Society at both Nashua High North and South. A couple of years ago, the kids from North sold flags, raised money for our veterans build, did the presentation check with the kids. Nothing better than that.
Yeah.
We've had the kids from Conval High School, Wilton High School, you name it. We partnered with the culinary program over at Alvern to give lunch. They made lunches for my volunteers a couple of days. So we're always involved with the kids.
We were talking a little bit off screen about handicap accessibility, and I've noticed that some places that they put in these handicap areas, these ramps and things, they're nice, but like right up the street here at Mine Falls, you look at some of these little culverts where maybe somebody that is in a wheelchair or is handicapped could go fishing,
Right.
but they're useless because you really can't. They're not workable.
I think there's a lot of the best of intentions behind some of that, but not always necessarily the best planning or execution that comes with this. We, in addition to building our houses, we also operate what's known as the Critical Home Repair or Aging in Place program. This is where we partner with seniors and folks with disabilities in our community who need some modifications to the house.
Right.
Maybe you need a wheelchair ramp. Maybe mom's not mobile enough anymore, but that's all she needs. She doesn't need to go to a nursing home.
Right.
She doesn't need to go to assisted living. And especially during COVID, we know that unfortunately those places, we had a lot of illness and a lot of sickness there. So families are trying to keep their seniors and their parents out of any type of restricted living.
So how do you get involved with that?
Same thing, application process, go to our website, nashuahabitat.org.
I need a ramp.
Critical home repair, fill out the application, get back to me. Again, we're looking at folks that are, seniors, folks with disabilities, folks that meet the income types of guidelines,
Right.
typically again, 60 to 80% below the area median income.
Yep.
And then, make sure that, you do own the house. We don't do work on rental properties or things like that, but we will help any homeowner we can. Right now, we're about to start a ramp project out in Milford for a lady who has a motorized scooter. It takes 3 or 4 people to help her get out of her house every time she has a doctor's appointment.
So that's a news flash. As far as I didn't know that you did that.
Yeah, we do that. We work with local nonprofits. We work with the soup kitchen. We redid the bathroom at their shelter on Ash Street. We rebuilt the handicap ramp at the shelter on Kinsley Street. We work with United Way. I mean, we'll partner with anybody who needs some help. Typically in our critical home repair, if it's expensive, we ask the homeowners if they can to contribute for the materials. We provide all the labor for free.
Right.
And if they don't have the position, they don't have the resources, I do have some grant money.
Right.
I'm able to put that up, and I go back to my funder and I say, hey, I used that $2,000 to help, Mrs. Johnson get her ramp on her house. I've
Excellent.
yet to see a funder, have a problem with anything like that.
So do you have any events that are coming up as far
do.
as
We do.
supporting Habitat?
Thank you. I appreciate you asking. And that's actually one of the reasons I'm glad to come today. We are having a music event, outdoor concert at Alpine Grove on September 19th.
Boy, Alpine Grove is getting a lot of attention. We have something for the children's home coming up.
That's correct.
We had Lou Duhamel and
Yep. You had Lori Wilshire. Yeah.
Yes, Lori. She came on. They both came on, and they're going to have. I don't know if you're from Nashua.
I am. Aces and Eights. Oh, yeah.
See, I've never seen them.
Yeah.
I want to see them.
In full disclosure, Lou and I are buddies. I've been buddies with Lou for a long time. He used to volunteer at Harbor Homes when I worked at Harbor Homes.
Yeah.
I worked at Harbor Homes for 26 years before I came to Habitat. So
Hmm.
I knew Lou was doing the Aces and Eights, and we as a fundraising and the board decided we wanted to do an outdoor event. We know everybody wants to get outside, but we didn't want to do another golf tournament or a 5K road race. Everybody's doing it. And I knew Lou was doing this thing with Aces and Eights, so I started picking his brain a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Ours is a little different. It's a Sunday event. It's going to be from 1 till about 7 or so at night. We have 2 bands. They're called, one's a local Nashua band, the Mighty Colors, and then the other is a Seacoast band called Truffle. They're, pretty, like I said, some incredible musicians donating their time. We're going to do the barbecue, just like the same thing that Lou's doing.
Oh, that's great.
And again, it's just going to be a fun day. Ours is kind of, I know Lou's is like a night event. Ours is a Sunday kind of, we're going to play some cornhole and, maybe some volleyball and throw the Frisbee around and listen to some good music. And what's great is 100% of the proceeds from this event are going to cost these lumber costs.
Yeah.
There's not, money's not coming to admin or any operating. It's really just, it's literally to send to the, Courier Lumber out in Amherst.
To
pay
it's a real issue.
It really is.
Hopefully we get this resolved. But I know that many bands, many musicians are out there that they've been locked up for a year. They got a lot of, they want to get out there and they want to jam. So,
and like I said, they're donating their time. They believe in this cause. They're really excited about coming and playing and getting out and showing off to the community. And we're real excited about having them.
What's the date again?
September 19th. It's a Sunday. Like you said, 1:00. Tickets are available through the Nashua Habitat website, nashuahabitat.org. We got posters going up around the community. It's almost the same as Aces and Eights. $50 a person, includes the barbecue, the music, cornhole. I mean, you name it. We're going to have raffles and everything else that we can do. We're looking forward. Bring your kids. Kids are basically free. Younger ones, we're just charging $30 for just to cover the cost of the meal.
Alpine Grove's a great place.
Alan and his team over there, they really are. Again, another great community partner. They've donated the use of their facility for the day. We're basically just paying for the meal, and then
it's good food. They
excellent
got great food there.
And the space that they have is just incredible outdoors. We're going to have plenty of room for people to spread out, and people can bring lawn chairs and blankets and the whole thing. And it's just going to be a really super day that we're looking forward to.
How many homes have since you've been involved?
5 since I've been involved in roughly the last 3 years, but 15 in the last 25 years. Started in 1994 here downtown at the Main Street Methodist Church. This was the inception of Nashua Habitat for Humanity. Been mostly a volunteer-driven organization. Within the last few years, they've started to bring on some paid staff. I came over from Harbor Homes about a little over 3 years ago now to take over. We now have our offices are in Hollis. We were downtown, but again, with COVID, donations dried up overnight. People were donating to lunch programs and seniors and Meals on Wheels, and we respect that. We understand that.
Yeah.
We have a very generous board member who is co-owner of a roofing company, Viking Roofing, out in Hollis. So they gave us office space for free for a year. We just started renting again and joining. So, as I said, we just have this incredible community around us of everybody who wants to help, from, George and his folks at National Wallpaper and Ace Hardware. Okay. They're always the first ones, to step up, to do stuff. Bellatate's Hardware, with drywall and helping us there. We get things donated. Lowe's, I can't say enough about Lowe's. Just for example, they just donated all the exterior doors for our property, and they gave us all our windows at 50% off.
Wow.
We have an incredible community here, Kevin.
Nashua.
I'm a Nashua guy. I was born in Nashua. I went to Nashua High. I live in Hudson now. I've been across on the other side of the river for a few years now.
The Nashua and greater Nashua area, you have everything from the front door to
just incredible
everywhere
people.
You turn. There's support systems out here.
There is.
And this is just another one of them.
And I always like to say, as much as you're right, there's a lot of nonprofits doing incredible work in Nashua, and sometimes it looks like people might be duplicating, some services and things. I think that the groups in Nashua do a really good job. We're different in the fact that we don't serve a lot of people every year. I don't have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people like the soup kitchen or something, but I change your life forever.
Sure.
I'm about to change 6 children's lives forever. And that's the way we look at it. We don't build houses. We change lives.
You change lives, but you're also incorporating, it's something when you have a finished product, that's one thing. You've definitely helped out a family. You've definitely changed their status, their hopes, their dreams. But everybody that was engaged in that process as well, they benefit as well because they're part of that. That's part of their reward, their community. And they take ownership in their community as well. So if it's a high school student, what greater thing for the kid to say, when I graduate from high school, whether I'm on honor society or whatever, I've helped somebody get in a home. And when you're a kid, you lived this place or you lived over there, you drive by that place once in a while.
That's
I used to live there.
That's right.
That used to be my park. I used to go on that swing.
Right.
Well, what a great idea. I helped build that house.
That's right.
I put a family in there, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a treasure.
One of the things that we do, and especially with the kids, is we do sign-a-stud programs. So the kids who work on our houses all autograph a stud or two, and that stud goes in the house, and it gets closed in by some drywall and, kind of forgotten about. And 50 years from now, someone's going to be renovating that house or doing some work, and they're going to pull that drywall down, and all of a sudden it's going to be, BG class of 2020.
Yeah.
How inspirational,
Right?
It is. It's just, every day I get inspired. I get inspired by my homeowners. I get inspired by my volunteers. They come out in the rain and the heat. These past few weeks when it's been so hot, those guys are still out there.
Yeah.
They're still building. They still donating their time.
You said you have some gentleman, he's 70 years old. You said he was playing in the mud?
Yesterday, we're on the build site. So Thursdays and Saturdays are typical build days for us. And I always try to go to the build site on the day. I don't want to sit behind my desk, Yes. And so I happened to stumble down onto the build site yesterday, and I ran into Tom Buchan. He's a longtime volunteer, core build crew member. And I looked at him and I gave a second look. He's soaking wet. He's covered in dirt. He's bleeding on one arm. And I said, Tom, are you all right? What's going on? He said, we're just playing in the mud. 75 years old, just like I said, digging in the mud. It's just, they're an inspiration. My core build crew, they do this every day, and it's incredible. The last thing I was just going to tell you about it is as in addition to partnering with us, our families have to be able to pay that mortgage going forward. I do my mortgages a little bit backwards in that I figure out what your 30% is. I less out your property taxes, 100%. There's no break. Insurance, maintenance, whatever's left is that small principal payment that comes to Habitat. We hold it, and that's money we use to operate and do the next project from it. So our families, it's not free, and they're not draining on the community. They're not devaluing property values. All of these kind of myths that I've heard about Habitat families. I couldn't think I could be a Habitat family, Kevin. I really don't. It's a lot of work.
Sure.
I got a single mom right now. She has 4 children. And she's got to put 350 hours in building that house. She tells me it's great. She gets away from the kids for a few hours and gets to build. But it doesn't sound like a lot. It is, though.
Yeah.
We require our homeowners to go to first-time home buyers classes, financial fitness, and budgeting. You got to do all those things before you can become a Habitat homeowner.
Wow.
So it's not not necessarily
It's
a
not
hand
just
up
a
a
gimme,
charity. No,
yeah.
it's a life-changing experience, like I said.
For everybody involved, it seems.
For everybody, right down to my staff and the folks that work in my office, to all the volunteers out there, whether they came for a day or they came for, every week for the whole summer type of thing. So we've got a few opportunities for people if they want to come and volunteer. We're always looking for groups that want to come in a team build. Your company wants to put together a team building day. There's no better team building day than doing a Habitat build.
Right. Now, if a company wants just to donate, maybe they can't make the September event.
Yep.
Do you have partners that regularly support Habitat?
All the time. Anheuser-Busch has been one of our greatest partners all along.
Yeah.
UPS has been a partner for us a long time. And then all of our, local partners, most, lots of community churches. But most of our donations, they just come from the community, from the lady who mails you that check for $5, every month. It comes every month.
That's humbling, isn't it?
It's very humbling.
Yeah,
it is.
And it's it's all they can give, but at the same time, it's like, wow,
it means a lot.
It does.
They took the time to write that check.
They did.
And we pride ourselves in recognizing all of our donors and getting in touch with them and thanking them, for taking the time to do that, because it does. There's a lot of need in our community, and some organizations are better than others at, raising funds and are able to access other kinds of funds. We don't get any federal appropriations. We don't get any city appropriations. We try for different things, but we don't get operating money or anything like that. We do that all 100% fundraising.
Yeah.
We built a house in Wilton just before our last build on a piece of property the town of Wilton donated to us. It wasn't the best buildable lot, but you know what? It was still a lot. And we were able to build a single-family home for Jocelyn and her family out there in Wilton. They were local people. We did that 100% through our own, no federal grant money, just
Nice.
fundraising through the community. So it's not just, it's the community.
Yeah, it is definitely community, and it's something that I think that you leave a legacy with each family and everybody that participated in that.
Yeah.
And I applaud you on that. And again, the date for the event.
September 19th, like I said, Sunday from 1 to 7. well, like I said, at Alpine Grove,
Yep.
over here in Hollis. Tickets available, like I said, through the website. Certainly anybody can reach us at the office. We're right over at 10 Clinton Drive here in Hollis. And, you know, our website is definitely the best way to get a hold of us. And
You know, I got a feeling that I bet you Dick Gagnon would love to have you do a show on this one time, or where you would, from beginning to end, how it's done.
yeah,
And obviously, you can use the community access TV show, but showing how maybe a foundation is put in and how some volunteers come in, maybe even the application process, but walking people through the steps, training people how to use local access TV in the process of helping them build a home.
anything that we can do, we would be
Yeah.
interested in participating in. I've got incredible, like I said, members of the build crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are the best DIY guys you have. They can
Yeah.
come in and show you all the different things. We've got, you know, partners, architects and engineers who can talk about some of the other things that you don't think of when you're building a house.
Right. Well, there's a whole host of things.
Site work and
site work,
utilities and
applications.
you name it. Sure.
Yeah.
And again, we have electricians and plumbers and guys that are just ready to help in any way. You know, a great example is, you know, we have Ronnie and his guys from RCA Electric. They do all of our electric work on it. Ronnie typically, you know, he gives us his material at cost. We pay his helper. Everything else he donates.
Nice.
You know, it's those types of things that people don't think a lot, but you know what? Electricians are expensive. And there's not a lot of grant money to pay an electrician type, you know, type of thing. So again, we rely on those individual donors, you know, the community to be, and I do have to, you know, again, give a shout out to the city of Nashua has just been an incredible partner with us. Carrie Skeena and her staff at the Urban Programs Department, they manage the federal funding that flows through the city, obviously working with the Board of Aldermen, and, you know, we went through the Human Affairs Committee. And again, you know, Mayor Donches, they were the first ones there when I went for them for appropriations just before COVID. And,
They helped
you know, I
out.
remember, you know, unanimous. There was not, you know, there's not a single person that didn't think in the room that this wasn't a good idea.
It's definitely a good idea, obviously, and that's a no-brainer. It's I applaud you for everything that you're doing, and I thank you for everything, and you're building the community. So,
And I thank you, you know, for the opportunity to come and talk with you today on your show. I thank you for all your work in Concord and everything that you're doing. You know,
We're doing our best.
You know, I really do.
hey,
you
we
know.
got a pier that we're working on.
I think that's a great idea. We were talking off camera about
Yeah.
that idea about the pier at Hampton Beach. I think
Hampton
that's a
Beach.
great idea for folks with disabilities.
Yep.
You know, nothing
We're
to
hoping
do.
that it's just a study committee now, but the governor's going to sign it, and we're going to reach out to the communities, and hopefully we can build a ramp over the jetty for the seniors, for the handicapped, and
Great.
for the disability community, and maybe even extend some of the season for the local businesses.
That's
But
fantastic.
I think it's a great thing for the community. But I love New Hampshire. I love my state. I love the ocean. I love the community that I'm part of here, and I just want to see it continue. So, Scott, thank you very much for coming,
Thank you, Kevin. I
All
really
right.
appreciate your time.
and get involved. Go to the event, September 19th. All right.
September 19th.
All right.
Awesome.
Until next week, thanks for watching Gate City Chronicles.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.